the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. It is Thursday, August 26th in the year 2021. And no matter if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube or WKYC.com, I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes a part of your day. On today's episode, we're continuing our questions about the Ohio State football team. Yesterday, 3 questions about the Ohio State offense. Today, 3 questions about the Ohio State defense. Also have a little thought about Kerry Coombs, the Ohio State defensive coordinator. But we begin today's show talking about the alliance that was formally announced a couple days ago and providing 2 pros and 1 con about this agreement. Anytime there is something new on the horizon, some people think all the positive. Some people think all the negative. And then there are some people that are neutral because you want to wait to hear more about the story because there's always more to the story. When it comes to Nebraska, those allegations that just came out, Nebraska Cornhuskers, things that happened in the offseason, there's going to be more to the story that comes out very soon. Arizona State, when the allegations first came out, you may have jumped to conclusions, but there was more to the story, which makes that look really, really bad for Herm Edwards and the other coaches there, a part of the Arizona State football team. LSU, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Kansas, whatever it is. Any of the allegations, anything that goes on. Anytime there's news in college sports, I would encourage everybody, in life in general, I would encourage everybody to just wait because there's always more to the story. Being neutral, it's okay. But there are times you can think about positives and negatives to weigh, compare, and contrast things that are already announced about the news that's right in front of you. 2 pros and 1 con about the alliance that was announced literally a couple days ago. This is a phenomenal way for the 3 commissioners that are new in office to stay on the same page and assist each other to make their conferences all that they can be. I believe the Big Ten Commissioner, Kevin Warren, has been in office for about 2 years. I thought it was less than that, but I believe I heard 2 years recently. The Pac-12 Commissioner literally got in office, I believe, in May. And then the ACC Commissioner has not been in office very long at all. When you're going up against Greg Sankey, who has been in office for a very long time, established, well-respected around the collegiate ranks, and then Bob Bowlesby, who well-respected as well, you got to kind of find a way to get somebody else on your page that's might be new, but y'all can work together to make this thing the best that it can be. That's exactly what I believe is going on right now. You got Kevin Warren, the other 2 commissioners working together. Yeah, they say, yeah, we know we're new, but we can do what is needed to make our conferences, the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big Ten, the best that they can be. The other pro, this is one that you might like. CBS. If I am CBS, I'm trying to hop all over this situation here and say, look, ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, we just lost the SEC contract to the ESPN. How about we find a way to formulate an agreement in writing, where you sign contracts. I say that because of the negative is about the signing of contracts that didn't happen in this alliance. Well, just stick around. You'll understand. And so we're going to sign some contracts. And how about we find a way to put your best game between all 3 conferences on our network? 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It works with every single conference, time slot wise. So you're not having a 9 a.m. kick local like the Ohio State-Oregon game is. And we can assist each other to make your conferences the best that they can be and put them on a primetime spot for college football fans. It makes a whole lot of sense. Now, with this in mind for non-conference games, one of the agreements that these commissioners came forward with is if there is a game or if there are contracts already signed for future matchups, the alliance will not go against those contracts. Because, that's when a lot of money comes out, and we don't want to spend more money if we don't have to. So, basically what's going on is, in Ohio State's case, Ohio State's non-conference slate is locked up for the 2022 and 2023 seasons. 2024, they go to Washington on September the 14th. That game is a part of the alliance that is there. So therefore, if the CBS thing goes through, CBS could say, hey, well, Ohio State and Washington, I know Fox, you want that, but we put more money into this alliance. We're going to broadcast that game at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It fits better with what Washington fans would want because Washington fans don't want to play a game at 9 a.m. local time. So it's better for everybody involved. You see what I'm getting at? This is a great way to put the best game every single week, college football specific, on television in a primetime spot for all college football fans to showcase the players that are on your teams. Now we'll get into a bidding war, and you're going to have, well, Clemson plays so-and-so, or Ohio State plays so-and-so, or USC or UCLA or Oregon. We get it. We understand. Those things will happen. But I think CBS getting a 3-conference deal for one game a week, that would be phenomenal. Last but not least, one con about this situation here. Remember I mentioned like maybe 30 to 45 seconds ago, maybe 60 seconds ago about the contracts that weren't signed. Well, this agreement here between the 3 commissioners, they said it. I don't agree with it. Don't think it was wise. This is a situation where they're going off of trust in the honor system. Little scenario for you. Let's just say for some reason, Commissioner of the Big Ten, Kevin Warren, is no longer in office after 2 years, and the alliance is planning on going on for a very long time. A new commissioner comes in, does not like the route or does not like the idea of said alliance, and all of a sudden, you have yourself a problem. You're in a pickle. The guy that replaces the commissioner that was a part of the agreement with these other commissioners does not like this alliance, and so since there was no contract, he doesn't have to go along with anything at all. That's a big, big problem. Now, is it going to happen in a couple years? I don't know. Life is crazy. We can't predict what's going to happen every single day, but very, very interesting to think about the possibility of a guy coming in who was not a part of the original agreement, and all of a sudden, he is not there. The new guy comes in, doesn't like it, and changes and alters the plans that these 3 gentlemen put together. 2 pros, 1 con. What are your thoughts about the alliance? Hit me up on Twitter at jsteven07. Text me 850-462-5442. We'll continue this conversation outside of the space of this here podcast. Stick around. We will continue this episode and this podcast with 3 questions about the Ohio State defense. But first, check this out. As we continue this episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If this is your first time checking out Locked On Buckeyes, I want to say welcome. Or if it's your first time in a long time, Jay wants to say welcome back. Locked On Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode for you every Monday through Friday. So make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast listening app, which is free. On the YouTube, search Locked On Buckeyes. That is free as well. Or if you check us out on WKYC.com, that is FREE. That spells free for your enjoyment on a daily basis, so you stay up to date with your Ohio State Buckeye football and basketball teams. 3 questions about the Ohio State defense. These are things that I believe many people might have questions about. Many people might have questions about the Ohio State defense in the Minnesota game, the Oregon game, the Indiana game, the Penn State game. Some of you might be a little nervous about Rutgers or Maryland. Some of you might be nervous about that team up north. I'm just throwing names out there just to put some thoughts in your head about different teams Ohio State will play this football season. First question I have on my list: how disciplined will the linebackers be during the first quarter of the season? So the football season is going to start next week, and this is a great time to remind people how Jay breaks down the football season. I break down any season into quarters or thirds if I need to. That just depends on how many games are being played that year and if it's better to go divide it into 3 or break it down into 4s. So the Ohio State Buckeye football team, or just college football in general, they play 12 games, 4 quarters, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So Ohio State, I believe the first 3 games, Minnesota, Oregon, and I want to say Tulsa. I believe Akron's week number 4. So the first quarter of the season would be those first 3 games. Just drew a blank. Minnesota, I know I just said it, but I drew a blank. The Minnesota game, the Oregon game, and the Tulsa game. Discipline in your mind, staying fundamentally sound, reading and reacting properly, pre-snap read, post-snap verification, all of the things that go into the Ohio State defense, or just being a linebacker in general, just playing a football game, playing football. I mean, pre-snap, post-snap, that doesn't matter if you're a safety, a quarterback, a D-end, or a running back or a fullback, depending on what offense you run. You got to be pre-snap, post-snap aware because you don't know what is going to happen. So, how disciplined will these guys be? Who will they be? I believe Mitchell's going to be an LB, but who will the other linebacker be? Will they be disciplined? That's a question. It could be a concern. Hopefully not a concern, but that's one of the questions I have about this defense. Number 2, will the 4-2-5 base defense bring big success throughout the season? We have seen the Ohio State defense be phenomenal, be really good running a 4-3, and really be stubborn and to not want to change out of that and bring in other personnel to combat what is going on, what the offense is throwing at you. Now, if you're playing Wisconsin, or if you're playing Iowa, maybe a little Northwestern, maybe Illinois, depending on what offense Brett Bielema runs, you might say, okay, the 4-3 is good. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. It's great for what the offense is going to throw at you. But based off of what the trend has been in college football, no, not just college football, in football in general over the past 10 years, you're probably going to be somebody that's going to be like, well, that 4-2-5 sits a whole lot better with me. 4 down linemen, 2 LBs, a hybrid bullet linebacker, which can play linebacker or safety, and then the 4 defensive backs that are going to be out there. 2 corners. You're going to have 1 nickel corner. And then the linebacker or safety, the bullet that is there. This defense, I believe, should have been changed and altered when Urban Meyer was the coach, but stubbornness will help you win a lot of games, and will cause you to lose some games as well. This defense, this alteration of the defense, I think it's good. I think it's needed. But will we see more success this way versus the other way? Will it be something where the matching up personnel-wise from the offense, it's good, it's needed, but the success that Ohio State had, it won't be drastically different than Ohio State had? Well, not last year, but in previous years? That's to be determined. But I'm curious how successful the transition will be, not just for the players, but for the coaches as well, because for a lot of these coaches, this is the very first time they're coaching and utilizing this base defense, on a consistent basis. We'll have to wait and see what comes next with that. Also, last but not least, everyone's been wondering, Jay, are you going to mention any of the freshmen? Are you going to mention any of the linebackers or the safeties or the D linemen that are freshmen that have been killing it in camp that we think will play big roles throughout the season? Of course I am. Of course. I almost said Jay. Wow. I almost said JTT. I wanted to say Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer, JT Tuamaloa. What will we see from them the first half of the season? What? Literally, I don't know. Now, I know they're going to play. I have seen clips from camp. I have seen exactly how – I have seen the way that they have played the football. I have seen the film in high school. I know what we might expect from them, but I have no idea what to expect from them the first half of the season. I don't know if anybody can concretely say I have data to confirm what I think we'll see from them during the first half of the season. Why? Because we haven't seen them play the football yet on the field in that way. First half of the season goes like this: at Minnesota, home against Oregon, home against Tulsa, home against Akron. You go to Jersey to play Rutgers, and you come back home to play the Maryland Terrapins, which is homecoming. Also, that game, for those of you keeping track at home, there's a 12 noon kickoff game on October the 9th. What will we see from them? What kind of impact will they play on the defense? Probably big speculation, kind of using an opinion, is it a well-educated guess like I would like to think? Well, no, I haven't seen them play the football yet, so I don't know. But will they make a big impact with this team? Also, another little question just popped into my head. I know I said 3, but sometimes 4 come out every now and then. Will we see both of these young men play inside and outside? Now, that is something that I think will be very interesting. If Larry Johnson in any Rushman package or anytime they're on the field, if he puts it in there, the 3 technique at any time, that could be scary. Because I do believe JTT, even though he's about 280, he's not your. Well, I think I saw 270. I think he probably looks more 280. He looks more 275, 280. But moves like 250. If at any time they put him inside, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you have the tackles. You have a tackle at JTT, and on the outside you have Zach Harrison. That might be an offensive line's nightmare. That might be something that could be a little scary. So let's just say you got JTT at tackle, you got Harrison at end. On the other side, you got Haskell Garrett at tackle. You have Jack Sawyer at end. That could be scary. How many versions of the Rushman package will we see? These are all things that I think many of you have been asking yourself questions about it. Notice I have not mentioned one player, not on purpose. It just hasn't come out just yet. I didn't know if it was going to. Noah Potter moving from outside to inside. He's very comfortable at the 3 technique, and I think he is somebody that will be in rotation this year and somebody that will be a very, very, very big piece of the Ohio State defense. I know I said 3 questions, but when you start talking, sometimes more than 3 come out. I have 3 questions. What questions do you have about the defense? Also, I know I mentioned different ways you can connect with me. Hop in the conversation on the YouTube. The YouTube has comments. You guys are phenomenal. Do a great job of filling that up. Go ahead and hit those as well. Let's keep this conversation going all day long. Step away one more time when we come back. Kerry Coombs, you're up next because I got an interesting thought about the defensive coordinator to wrap up today's show. But first, check this out. As we wrap up today's episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Ohio State's defensive coordinator, Kerry Coombs. Many of you were very critical of him last year. I was critical of him last year, but I'll probably be a little critical in a different way this year, depending on how the defense plays, while he is the lone and only defensive coordinator, and he is not playing double duty, coaching the DBs and the entire defense. This year for Kerry Coombs is big. It's huge. Very, very big. I think last year playing 2 roles, DC and DB coach, I think that may have been too much for him at that time. I think it may have been too much. A lot of injuries as well. A lot of the personnel was a lot of the hampering and the things that were deterring how well the play was for the defense last year. But I do personally believe, and I'm starting to think that him playing both roles was also a detriment to him because he's not only having to worry about the defense as a whole, also trying to figure out how in the world he's going to fill the holes and the spots on the field with the DBs that had injuries last year. Then you had guys that were playing out of position, guys that were on the bench that I think should have been playing. It was just an abnormal, weird situation. So if Kerry Coombs is here, Kerry Coombs, the defensive coordinator, now is here, I'm looking at him in a different way. And I wonder how you will look at him. Kerry Coombs, the defensive coordinator, you're asked to do one thing: coach the defense. That's it. That's your only role. Yes, you're going to assist with the defensive backs. Yes, there is recruiting. Yes, you're going to assist with the LBs. Yes, you'll assist with the linebackers. Yes, you'll have meetings with the coaches. Yes, Ryan Day will probably have a one-on-one with you. But your main goal, your job, is to coach the defense. And in doing so, you're going to be looked at to have answers or to answer questions. You may not have the answer for it, but you have to answer questions about how the defense is playing, how the defense is looking. If the defense is not bad, it is not good, it's on you. not totally on you because the players are there, but a lot of the questions will be focused at you because you are the DC of the team. Big year for Kerry Coombs. Coming off of the year that the Ohio State defense had is very big and could be something that could propel changes or different decisions that Ryan Day makes based off how the Ohio State defense plays. I know Ryan Day consistently says he wants to play the single high safety look. Well, if that's not working at any point throughout the season, could we see the two high safety look to help and assist the defense of Ohio State? It's possible. Yes, it is. That's to be determined. Sometimes keeping your way is great. Sometimes you got to have a little way to be a variation or to alter what you want. Ryan Day wants Kerry Coombs calling the defensive shots. Kerry Coombs, it's on you. It's your job. You only have one job. Run the defense. Make sure that the players are ready to be successful. We'll see what happens next Tuesday when they take the field for the very first time. Guys, this has been fun, a lot of fun. We are done for the day. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Buckeye. Text me 850-462-5442. Email me, jstevens317@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. Locked On Buckeyes in the search engine. You will find the YouTube channel there. I am done. Gonna go eat a little bit. Just got done working out. Got to eat a little bit and then just relax and enjoy the day. The rest of it, it's nice outside. It cooled off a little bit. The rain came. Let's enjoy this weather because before we know it, it'll be hot again. And as always, go Bucks!